All right, we are live with the Djukic brothers. Hey guys, before we dive into the episode, I got to give a quick shout out to our two sponsors. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to host this podcast. Our first one is X Endurance Sports Supplements. X Endurance Sports Supplements is one of the highest quality products in the marketplace. So if you're an athlete, especially if you're an athlete that gets tested, I highly recommend their products. This podcast is also brought to you by WOD-Proof app, which basically is how I record all my workouts so I can judge my movements, so I can time my workouts. I use it for the Open. We use it for the Zelos games. And one of the coolest things that I always repeat is that you can play music while you record yourself, which I don't know of any other app that you can do. So there's a discount to both X Endurance and WOD-Proof in the show notes. Go ahead and check it out. Now let's go back to the episode. All right, Lazar, Luka, how are you guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? I love that you guys are wearing your Mayhem Athlete and then Sharpen the Axe shirts, you know?
No, it's just a coincidence.
I'm interested. We can kind of dive right in there. And just to preface the show, you know, it's called Athlete Stories. I really like to dig into like where you're from, your upbringing and all that stuff. So we'll get into that. But I want to kind of dive in to you, Luka, for a second. How'd you get set up with Misfit Athletics? How'd you choose them per se?
Yes, so in 2019, I think I tried the Misfit for a few months, and I really liked their programming, but I didn't like just following regular program without having a coach that can support me and then can tell me what should I do and what should I change in the program and stuff like that. So for some time I was with another coach here from Europe, and then after the games I dive again into that, into searching again, what should I do, what should I change in my programming, and I went again for the Misfit because I knew that I liked their programming before and that I was using it. It worked really well for me, and I got connected with Drew. He's the owner and the CEO of Misfit and Sharpen the Axe. And we got together and got some talks how he thinks that I can improve and what should I change in my training, and we start like that, and then it kind of took off and I joined the team, and now I'm working remote with Drew for some time now, and I really like how it's going for now.
That's awesome, man. I really like their content. They have really educational content that they share on YouTube and stuff like that. They seem like really intelligent coaches. That's interesting though, Lazar, you know, you guys train together a lot, right? Like for the most part?
We keep each other company in the gym, but we usually don't do the same stuff.
Right, because he's with Misfit and you're with Mayhem. But at one point, you guys probably used to train together, right? And then he went with Misfit, you went with Mayhem. Like, how did all that work out? I know that, do you train under Facundo and then Mayhem, or how does that work?
Yes. So when we started 5 6 years ago, then we trained together. As we progressed, we separated a little bit because you know, we don't really have the same. We have some similar abilities and some similar weaknesses and strengths, but we don't have, like, we are not the same athlete.
Sure.
So we are choosing to do different stuff. And now that he's with Misfit and I'm with Mayhem, you know, athlete always wants to do what his coach says. So
yeah,
he prefers to do what Drew says, and I prefer to do what Facundo says. But sometimes, maybe on Thursdays, we will do something together, like when it's active recovery or when it's just some like random workout day. So yeah,
got it.
And I'm training under Facundo, and it's he's a head coach of Mayhem ID, the new part of Mayhem, and it's remote programming for elite athletes. Well, it doesn't need to be elite, but it's usually for elite athletes. And me and Guy and Saxon Penchek are his athletes, and we are representing this Mayhem ID. And after that, I sometimes add something from Mayhem Compete or What's Rich doing, depending on what I need in my training. So Facundo with Mayhem ID, and
Nice. How did you get connected with Facundo?
I got to know him since 2018, I think. I won competition that him and Mayhem organized. It was called Belgium Throwdown, and I won 6 out of 9 events, and he was really impressed. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you went out for a sec.
Okay. So I won a competition that him and Mayhem organized, and he was really impressed by me. And he said I should continue working on myself. I have great potential. And he said something like, we may work together in the future, something like that. I can't be specific, but after games 2021, I kind of saw that I need more logistics around me during the games. I need a team of professionals and team of guys that have been there multiple times. And I decided to join them. They offered me very good programming and very good coach. So it was just a logical solution to go with that. And it wasn't just any coach. Facundo knows me very well, like for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And he was watching me compete, and he always, like, when I would go to the warm-up area or when I was going out to compete, he was always showing me, I'm watching you. So I knew he knows my weaknesses and strengths, so it was a good option for me to go with him.
So one of the viewers asked, what's the main difference between Mayhem and Misfit? And either one of you can answer this question. You guys can feel free to just interrupt each other.
I don't know. I think that both of us are, with our coaches, focusing basically on the stuff that we need. And on top of that, we are adding the regular cycles that programs has. So we are not following strictly like a regular program that both of those training plans have. We have our own cycles and all training that coaches us like writing specifically for us. I know that's for me, and of course also I think that they work like that, but I can't tell the difference and I think that any of us can tell the difference because we are not doing both training plans, so that we know what is different. But
the thing is, I never saw day in Misfits programming. I just saw Luka training, basically one session. I see him one session a day, and it was the same for both of us. I really liked Mayhem programming before I started doing it, and he also really liked Misfits. So it was a natural decision to go with something that you like.
And I think that both of us did that programs before. And I think that you first need to try to see if something suits you. And if something suits you, that's because everyone is different. And I don't think that we can compare what is different because we have such a specific training that we are doing at the moment. So it's a tough question, really.
No, I get it. And that makes sense because you guys are more on the individualized side of things.
Yeah.
Here's a question, though, and this might be confusing. Luka, you mentioned that the best programming is kind of like what makes sense for you. If you're looking for the right programming, should you look for programming that programs more of your weaknesses or more of your strengths? Do you know what I'm saying?
Depending on who you are.
Yeah, right. Because for me, I would rather do programming that I'm already good at, but I'll never get good at other stuff if I'm doing only the programming that highlights my strengths, right? So how do you think? I guess maybe for the audience, how do they go about choosing?
I think that best program is the one that is working your weaknesses but keeping your strengths. Okay. And that's really hard thing to do, to focus on your weaknesses while keeping the stuff that you are good at. So I think that you should find a program that's doing that if you want to compete.
That's a good answer, Luka.
For me, it's if I was not competing in sport, I would only do my strengths. I would never do lifting again. I would just do a bunch of muscle ups, handstand walks, and rowing wall balls, like some fun workouts. But
you and I
need to
would
do
like to
lots
work
of-
out with each other.
Yeah,
We would-
a lot of
we wouldn't have
squats,
fun.
lot of lot of squats, lot of deadlifts, like power output, and I really don't like that stuff, but that's what I need to do. So
yeah, you got to win somehow. Let's kind of start from the very beginning, where and you guys can feel free, like I said, choose whoever wants to answer. Where are you guys from originally?
We are from Serbia, a small town called Temerin. It's really close to second biggest city in Serbia. It's like 15 minutes drive to Novi Sad. That is the second biggest city in Serbia. I am 23 and Lazar is 26. We started CrossFit. Lazar started a little bit earlier. He started 2015. I started end of 2016. But yeah, basically Lazar started he went to United States to be a lifeguard, and then he realized in United States what CrossFit actually is. He bring that back to Serbia, and then he was basically coaching me for first let's say a year or so, because my goal was to lose some weight because I was coming off an injury and I was playing soccer. And my goal was to lose weight, and Lazar was, I will just write you some workouts. You can do that a few times a week. You will lose some weight. And then we started basically like that. And then there were some small competitions in Serbia. And basically that's how we got introduced in the sport and how we started.
All right. What is it a big sport in Serbia, or like compared to America, what's it like?
really not big sport. It's still growing, but at some point you can't grow the sport anymore because there is not a lot of, like, there's 7 million people in Serbia, and there is only one certified CrossFit box, and but there is a lot of gyms that use CrossFit and functional fitness, and they have a lot of members, and I think it's big, but big for Serbia. It's not big compared to US or Brazil, for example, or France or Germany. So yeah, it's still growing, but it's reached a certain point, I think, where it will slow down.
Okay. You came here to be a lifeguard. Tell me about that. How does one get brought to the US to be a lifeguard? That's like a part-time job for a lot of people here. So
yeah, well, it's called Work and Travel Program.
Okay.
And as a college student in the first year in Serbia, we have an option if we are good students and if we do like 6 out of 9 exams before the summer. We have opportunity to go to earn some money in United States, and it's more of a tourist kind of thing, tourist work experience, and you can apply. And I applied. Like, I just wanted to go and see how it is, earn some money, come back home. And I came to US start of summer, and my friend that was like, he was not my friend at the time, but I got into the room with the guy from Novi Sad, which is really like coincidence.
Yeah.
And he was already doing CrossFit.
What part of the US did you come to? What part of the US did you? What part of the US?
I came to Washington, D.C.
Okay, got it.
And he introduced me to workout Murph first time, and he destroyed me. I didn't really even finish the workout. I did strict pull-ups, and I couldn't run. And it was very bad experience for me, but it made me want to beat him in the same workout. We decided we'll do the same workout at the end of the summer, and I just started like looking up what is CrossFit, checking what's the double under, how can you do a butterfly pull-up. And as a lifeguard, you are working like 45 minutes, and then you have 45-minute break. That's how we did it in our pool. And every 45-minute break, I would do something to better myself in CrossFit, like learn double unders. We had a gym inside, like in the pool surrounding.
Yeah.
And I just went for rowing, 45 minutes, double unders, exercise pull-ups, stuff like that. And at the end of the summer, I beat him in a workout. And then I came back home, bought some equipment, and I applied for a competition, like just a month after I came back. And I took second at that time, and I beat all of the good guys that were like CrossFit competitors, like OG CrossFit competitors in Serbia. And I took second place, like just the best guy in Serbia beat me that time. And I was like, if I try, maybe I can be good. And and then Luka went on my second or third competition with me in teens. He took third, and then he got just hooked and decided to finish with soccer and just start training CrossFit. Yeah.
Luka, did you start kind of the same reason Lazar started, so you could beat him at some point?
No, my goal when I started was to lose weight, because I broke my leg on the game that we had during the season, and then I needed like more than 3 months to recover, because it was it was not a usual break. It took some time to heal, and then I got like I gained, like, let's say 10 to 15 pounds. Like, it was a lot. I was really heavy. And Lazar started doing CrossFit, and I was always like interested in what is CrossFit like, and what is that thing. How can you be so tired after the workout of 10 minutes? That was never, like, for me, I could never understand that. And then I remember once I tried the workout that he did. I think it was something similar to Cindy, but instead of pull-ups, it was burpees. I think it was 5 burpees, 10 push-ups, and 15 squats. And I tried that, and I stopped after like 3 rounds, because I couldn't keep the pace. I was out of my breath. And I always thought of myself that I'm good at conditioning. I was good runner. I was always one of the best in like conditioning stuff when we were playing football. And then I was like, maybe I should do this to try to supplement my soccer game. And then once I got a little bit deeper into CrossFit, like everybody does. And
you forget everything else.
I stopped football and just begin CrossFit a little bit more serious.
So when you say football, are you talking about soccer?
Soccer, yeah.
Okay,
we call it football here.
yeah. Did you guys play other sports? What about you, Lazar? Did you play soccer as well?
No, I was a water polo player for 10 years.
Okay. And Luka, did you play any sports other than soccer?
I played soccer basically from the first year of my school, so it was also 10 years.
How did you guys?
Maybe he even did more than I did water polo.
How did you?
Can you repeat?
Like, how did you not play soccer, and how did you not play water polo? Like, how did you guys choose? And those are 2 different paths, you know.
I tried. My first sport was actually soccer, and I went for 5 training sessions, and I was the worst one. I didn't have any talent. I just decided it's not for me. And it was like, for me, it was just a coincidence after coincidence, and then it went like to water polo. I broke my leg, my arm, my wrist actually, my wrist, and it was very weird because the doctor didn't put my arm the right way, and it healed improperly, and I couldn't move anything except like this. I couldn't really move my wrist at all, so they needed to break it again. And when they break it, total time that I had the cast was around 3 months, and my arm was like feeling very bad. It was really skinny, and then the best way to make it work and make it good again was swimming. And I saw big guys at the pool. I'm like, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
And I asked what are they doing. They said we are water polo players. And I'm like, I go to water polo, and like I just stayed there for 10 years.
Got it.
And
Okay.
when I was a kid, our parents also tried to like introduce me to swimming, and I was crying all the time. I didn't want to do it. Like I was hating swimming. So for me, it was like all of my friends in the school in the first year of school, everybody was playing soccer, and I was like, I want to train it too.
Yeah.
And then I when I started, I was training it for 10 years.
Got it. That makes sense. What did you guys as parents do growing up for a living? Did they play sports? What did they do for a living? What do they like?
No, dad was a policeman. And mom was a housewife.
Housewife, yeah.
Okay.
That's
okay.
correct.
Yeah, she was taking care of us.
Got it. Nice. Is that normal where you're from, for like the dad to work and the mom to stay at home, or is it kind of like sometimes?
Yes,
is it kind of like,
it's normal, but not, mostly both of parents work, so
Yes.
it was just our case.
Yeah, not much different than the United States. So culturally, what's the biggest difference you think between where you guys are from and spending some time in the United States? Like, what's some of the biggest differences there? Obviously, besides like the language and things like that.
It's really similar. Everything is really similar. Even the food is really similar. So
okay,
there's not much different, to be honest. Even if I think about it, there's not really much different. Like people think Serbia is more like Russia, but it's really not. It's kind of we're in the middle between West and East, and Serbia is mixed with cultures. Like we have all religions, all like we have
different languages.
Yeah. So it's very similar to US, because there is also very like different cultures, everything in US. So yeah.
And Serbia is really small compared to anything in United States. So because like Serbia is big as one of the city in United States. So
yeah. I think 7 million people.
Everything is a lot simpler, I would say.
Yeah.
Because everything is smaller, it's easier to organize. So I think that everything is a little bit simpler than in United States.
When did you guys learn the English language?
We were both learning English in school, but when we started CrossFit, I think that we pushed it a little bit more, because if you want to be in CrossFit space, and especially in Serbia, there is not much material on our language. And if you want to learn, or if you want to do, let's say, CrossFit level 1 or anything, you need to know to speak English really good. And then when we started traveling, I think that's when we learned English. We knew it always, but when you travel and when you meet the other people, and then I think that you're learning the best that way.
Yeah, and we should give shout out to our parents, because we were going to private classes in English, so we can like speak better. So
that's great. So who do you think is more competitive out of you two?
That's a tough question.
I say I hate losing more to Luka, because he's younger, and if he's beating me and he's younger, I'm in a problem. So I really don't like losing to Luka. So in January this year in January, right? I had COVID.
Yes.
This year, January, I had COVID, and I didn't do anything for 2 weeks, and then my wisdom tooth inflamed, and I took it out. I had operation, and then I didn't do anything for 3 weeks more. So 5 weeks of not doing anything. And I come I got back to training like 1 week, and I do some workout, muscle ups, GHDs, and I do, in my opinion, really good time. And Luka comes, hey, I like this workout, I'll do it. He beats my time like 1 minute 30 seconds in a 9-minute workout. And I wanted to kill myself. My father, when I went, like, Luka always brags when he beats me. So he said to our dad, hey, I beat him by 90 seconds in a workout, and our dad was, "Are you gonna allow this? Like, are you gonna allow that your younger brother beats you in a
Yeah, he
workout?"
stokes the fire.
And from that point, actually, it was kind of a shortcut. It's not a shortcut in my career this year, because if I didn't have these 5 weeks, I would continue my usual regime, which was like I would flirt with my sleep, with my diet, and after those 5 weeks, I knew I need to get back in shape really fast, and I really switched my focus and started preparing for the season. And like, I slept 10 hours, I ate clean, I trained really good. So yeah, I'm thankful to this guy for beating me in that workout.
Luka, what about you? Do you sleep 10 hours? Are you guys on the same kind of regimen, or do you live two different lifestyles?
I for the whole last season I was working as a coach, so it was a little bit hard to focus on that stuff. And then I was trying to focus on that stuff, on nutrition and sleep and recovery as much as I can. But when you are working 3 to 5 hours every day, it was a little bit hard. But I was lucky that it worked for me and I qualified for the games. And now I allowed myself to focus and be a full-time athlete now. And since the games, few weeks after the game, actually it's now, I think, a few months now that I'm full-time athlete, and now I can focus a lot more on sleep and recovery and the nutrition. And now I try to focus as much as I can on that stuff outside of the gym. But for the full last season, I mean, I was also trying to do it. I was never like purposely lacking on sleep or anything else. I was always, if I finish the work, I will immediately go train and then back home, back to sleep, try to eat as much, like the best that I can. But now that I'm full-time athlete, I think now when you have time, you can focus on that stuff.
Yeah. Lazar, when did you go full-time? Or are you full-time now? Are you working or what?
No, I decided to finish with work and everything in end of 2018, because I was working in Kuwait for a year, and I was competing through the Europe, and I earned some money, and I was able to give myself a break and try to go full. The only bad thing was that 2020, there was no competitions, there was no money earnings, and like gyms were getting closed. So I didn't have opportunity to work, but yeah, I went through it, and now it's okay. So end of 2018, I started being full-time athlete.
What do you guys think the hardest thing about being a full-time CrossFit Games athlete is?
For me now, it's like only 1 month and I see only benefits. So the hardest thing, I think, I mean, every professional sport is hard for sure, and CrossFit Games field is really strong. And I think maybe the hardest thing is that now you know that this is your full-time job, and you know how hard it is to make it. And there's a stress for sure, knowing that there's one big competition a year that you need to attend if you want to keep building your name, to try to attract some sponsors, and to try to make a good result there. Because I think in our sport, it doesn't matter what you do in anything else except the games, because I think that's still the golden standard in our sport. And I don't think that off-season competitions matters even the half with how much CrossFit Games matters. So I think there's a stress in that for sure now that I'm talking from my side, because now I turn to a full-time athlete, and I see that. And when I set the goals for next season, for sure the CrossFit Games is the big goal for everyone, and nobody can guarantee you success. And I think that you don't need to stress about the result. I think you need to focus on every single day. And in the end, yeah, there is the stress in that, but every professional sports have that.
Lazar, what about you? What do you think is the hardest thing?
Well, I know when I was working, let's start with this. The hardest thing is keeping schedule as full-time athlete, and because if you work, you're working from, let's say, 10 to 3. You'll work out before and after, and there is no other option. So either you work out or you're not working out. And when you have only one thing to do, even though it seems easier, it's like if you sleep 30 minutes more, your whole schedule of the day gets moved by 30 minutes, and you can allow it, but it's messing with your head if you're not on your schedule. So yeah, schedule and discipline. Even though I'm really good at organizing my time in that way, I would say it's the biggest difficulty. Yeah.
What was your favorite workout at the games, Lazar?
Pegboard and double unders and dumbbell overhead squats.
What about you,
I almost
Luka?
won it if there was not for that judge.
Wait, okay, so let's get into that. Tell me what happened.
So I did 16 double unders each round.
Okay.
And I lost by 5 double unders, and there was 11 rounds. So I did 11 double unders extra, and I still didn't win. So, and he gave me a lot of no reps that were not no reps. But yeah, what can you do? I can't reverse time. I can just talk about it now.
Yeah. Do you ever, did you go back and watch and like make sure, like, okay, yeah, I'm for sure right, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did?
I
Okay.
actually showed it to Boz, and the biggest thing for me is not winning a workout. The thing is, I was wearing Reebok shoes, and I would get $10,000 more.
Yeah.
So I was like, Boz, look at this. If you just give me these 5 reps, I would tie with Cole Sager in this workout, and I will have 10 more thousand in my pocket. He's like,
and that's
Lazar, we are not negotiating this. Like, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
That's fair, and that's a little unfortunate. But as the sport evolves, it's just one of those things we got to deal with. What was the worst workout for you, Lazar? Like your least favorite? Maybe not the one that you did the worst time, but what was your least favorite workout?
Sprint 500 meters. I really didn't like this because it wasn't really a sprint and it wasn't really 500 meters, and the finish is what it counts in these workouts, and in this one the finish was the turn, and you can't pass anybody in the turn, so it kind of sucks.
It was like over, like
they had a big field, they had an opportunity to make it straight, but they didn't, so I really didn't like this one. But other than that, I feel like competition was very good programmed, even though I didn't like that it was that much heavy barbell. Other than that, I think it was good programming, it was good test. So yeah, just
what about you, Luka?
This 500 minute sprint I didn't like, but I don't say it's a bad test.
Yeah, right. Got it. Luka?
So yeah, for me the favorite one was the one with the pig flip and muscle ups. Not because of the workout, but because we started the games at the lake. So that was the first time when we got in front of the crowd, when you actually felt that you are at the CrossFit Games, because everything else until that moment was like every other competition, and that was like that first event was a little bit strange because you were swimming, you were alone, and then you were kayaking for 35 minutes. So, and then when we went to the North Park Stadium, and when there was a big crowd and heats of 20, and then you felt that you are actually at the game. So not programming wise, but that was my favorite moment at the games, when they corral us and then we run into the North Park, and then you realize, okay, I'm at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah,
so that was my favorite moment for sure. And the least favorite was thrusters and wall walks, because
that just sucked.
Yeah, and not only that, those are at the moment, those were my two weakest moments. Not only that, I was in the lane next to Scott Panchik, and Scott Panchik won that workout from the heat one. He destroyed the time. I think he beat Medeiros for like a minute or something. And imagine myself how I felt doing the workout next to him when he beat me for like 6 minutes in that workout. And like I felt like I'm not like that I just started
worthy.
CrossFit. That's how I felt in that workout. So
I'm
that's
going
why I
home.
didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about training
Yeah.
next to somebody really fast. It can help you, but if they're that fast, then it can it's just embarrassing, you know.
Yes.
I was sitting right in front of.
Was like.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that basically in 3 rounds he lapped me. Like I was on round I was on round of 7 and he was on round of 6 already. So that was pretty disappointing. Like, what am I doing here?
That workout looked like it stole everyone's soul. Like I was sitting right there in front of Mal O'Brien, and you know she did it unbroken. She beat Tia. It was a really crazy moment, and I'm literally sitting front row, like right in front of her, and the girl didn't change her expression at all once, you know, and it was like almost scary to watch it. Because if you see me do wall walks and thrusters, like let's say I scaled it right to be more relevant for me, you would still see pain and suffering and like slobber and maybe crying. Who knows, right? Like you're gonna see all sorts of like facial expressions, but her, it was like the whole time. And I was like, this girl is incredible. Like it was kind of scary to watch. Who do you think was the most impressive athlete on the female side at the games? I mean, maybe besides Tia, right? Like obviously she won, but like anybody that surprised you or anything like that?
I think that what Laura did was pretty impressive because he didn't have after 2000. After the 2018 where she made the podium in second place. I think that she didn't have good few years after that. She was kind of trying to go back into that shape and try to make that success. And I think that what she displayed at the CrossFit Games was pretty impressive, because that second place that she did was pretty solid. Like she had a pretty huge point lead over the third place, and Tia was in league of her own. But I think that Laura did a pretty good job this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I really didn't pay much attention to girls.
That's fair.
I really didn't pay much attention to the girls while I was competing, but what I saw after, I will also say Laura, Gabby, Migala, and Annie Torresdottir. But then when I went to Cookville, Haley destroyed me in every workout, and as I saw, she was the most impressive athlete, like the most impressive girl athlete that I've trained with ever. So she
you guys have
awesome.
Similar. You guys like to do the same kind of workouts, right?
Yeah. And if Rich wasn't there, we would destroy each other. Like, let's do just one more workout. Let's just do one more workout.
Yeah.
And if she was leaving the gym before me, I was like, Haley, leaving already? And she's like, I'll do whatever you want immediately. And it was the same way if I leave the gym first. So it was kind of a tapering for Rogue. So Rich didn't allow us to train a lot. So if we continued, it would be nasty.
Yeah. What do you think about training with Rich? Do you think he's still one of the fittest men alive? Do you think he is the fittest man alive? What are your thoughts there?
I really don't know how to compare him to the guys now.
Yeah.
Because he's like not training for individual, but he is definitely one of the fittest guys on earth. Definitely top 10, definitely top 5 also. But then from top 5, like there are really some fit guys. If he like really focused, I don't know. Like it would be like he would be bad guy to go like next to.
Yeah, he's a natural competitor, obviously. What about on the men's side? What did you guys think? Like, who was the funnest person to compete with at the games?
Who was
the most fun person, to
Most
compete with
fun?
at the game on the guy side? Obviously.
I mean, competition is always really stressful, and everybody is really focused. But
Noah was nice.
Who?
There were a few guys that Noah was really nice. We got
Noah's a
we
great guy.
were driving to the hotel and to the stadium a few times together. Scott Panchik was really nice, and especially to all of us rookies that were there first time. And this was his last year, so I think that he like wanted to seize that moment for his last year to welcome everyone. And
he felt like a father figure.
Yes. And I think that Wellner was one of the funniest guy.
Yeah,
the funniest guy to be around.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about Dubai. You guys, both went. What were your thoughts? If you had to sum up that competition, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Dubai. The city is awesome, and the competition is always perfectly organized. Like there's no, if they say it's 4 p.m. it's 4 p.m. If it's they always make sure everything goes smoothly, and Tola broke a pedal on the bike. They switched it in a second. Like the girl torn the sandbag. Nobody even noticed. And it was a really good competition, both workouts wise and both organization wise and money wise. So it's great competition.
Were you upset there wasn't a swim?
Yeah, I was really upset because when I go to Dubai, I always expect we'll swim on this nice beach next to the Burj Al Arab, like this sail hotel, and it's really good experience. It's really nice experience because water is so clean. You don't even need goggles to see. So I was really upset we are not going there, and but what can you do? It's a competition. You're not the one deciding
it's not vacation. Luka, what about you? This was your first time doing Dubai?
Yes, for me it was. Lazar was, I think this was his third time, and always when he came back from Dubai, he was like, "Oh, this is the best competition there is." Like this is, and then when he was at the CrossFit Games, he was like, Dubai and CrossFit Games are similar, like similar experiences to me. And I was like, man, I made it to the games and I still don't know what Dubai is like. And then when they announced that it's going to be invites only, I was a little bit frustrated because I was working so hard for a few years to make it to Dubai, and then I was getting closer each year. So, for example, 40 athletes were making Dubai in 2018 or 2019. And I was 60th, so I was pretty close to that line. And I know that. And then when I went to the level where I know that I can qualify, COVID happened. There was no Dubai for 2 years. There was no competition. And now when I know that I can qualify, they're doing only invites. And I was pretty frustrated about that. And then a few athletes that were invited because they were going on the games rankings. That's how they were doing invites. So when the few guys declined, they invited me, and I was more than happy to accept it. So, and yes, as Lazar said to me before, I also think it's one of the best competitions because you are in summer, in the middle of December. You see that the organizers are making sure that the competition is focused on athletes and not only for the show, for the audience. You will see the workouts that can really test your fitness and not really make a show for the audience. And I see that in sport now, not few competitions, but I see that there are some competitions that are just trying to make a show for people. And I felt that at Dubai, everything was really good. The show was good for the audience. The workouts were perfect. You can see that organizers are doing their best for the athletes to have the best time there, and the organization was perfect. Hotel is right next to the arena, so it was really good experience.
That's great. you guys started the competition in the snow. What were your thoughts going into that? Like, were you upset about it, or were you just like, whatever, just do it?
Man, like I was hoping to see some desert run or something like that, and when they announced that it's going to be snow, I wasn't really happy about that. But then in the end, the workouts were really cool, and it was really hard, and it is not something that you can experience anywhere else, basically, until you go to Norway or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like the elemental.
Sorry?
I was saying I like the element, like, adding the
Yes.
snow element, because you're never going to see that. Well,
Yes.
you're most likely not going to see that at the games.
Yes, I did a snow run at Norwegian CrossFit Championship a few years ago or a year ago, but I didn't expect to see it in Dubai, because you are preparing yourself for like a 30 degrees competition, like a heat and everything, and then when they announced snow, it was like a little bit of a surprise, but it was cool.
And the both workouts there. Both workouts there were really painful.
Yeah.
Like, when you start a workout and you tell to yourself, okay, in 15 minutes you're done. Like, in 15 minutes you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine, and then you're just like, okay, you're done with round 1. Okay, you're done with round 2. Okay, you're halfway done. Like, you're counting, and when I do that in a workout, it's really painful. I usually don't think about that. But when the workout hurts really, really bad, it's rounds, I just tell to myself, okay, like, one more round, like, just go. And then the second one, it was like, you're going to be done in 5 minutes. You're going to be okay. And then you just start sprinting uphill and your legs just don't want to work. So both workouts, first day was awful. It was really painful.
I'll do as like, I'll be in so much pain. I do like fractions. Like, if it's a 6-minute workout and I'm 30 seconds in, I'm like, I'm 1/20th of the way done.
No.
I'll be like, I am 3/7 of the way done in my head,
Can you do the math actually doing the
Yeah, well, I like math and I hate the pain. So it kind of helps me challenge myself. I'm like, I am 23% of the way through. Sometimes it doesn't help, but what was it like competing against Ricky? I mean, was there any pressure there, or was it awkward? Was it fun? I mean, what was that like?
I mean, it was pretty normal. Ricky is a good guy. I think that he knows what he did, and I think that he knows what community and what other athletes expect of him now to show that he can do good, and that he don't need anything to be a good athlete. And I think that he was a little bit nervous going. You could see it on the first day that he was a little bit nervous. He was maybe like he maybe expected athletes to not be friendly to him or to not welcome him. That's how I think that he felt, because that's how I saw him during the briefing and during the first day. But as competition was going, I think that all of us, because it was a pretty small field, it was only 20 athletes, so we got to communicate with each other a lot. And I think that how the competition was rolling, everything went like smoother and smoother. And in the end, we were all joking around. It was pretty good time, and Ricky is a really good guy. We shared some pretty funny stories, like in the warm-up area with his coach is pretty cool, Justin Kotler.
Yeah,
I think that did I pronounce the name correctly? So yeah, he was pretty good guy. I think that it's good to have him back. He's for sure a good competitor. I hope that he will stay on the good path and not make any more mistakes.
Assuming he doesn't make any mistakes, where do you see him now that you've seen him compete live? Like, do you see him making the games? Do you see him being
he'll make the games, but he'll not beat me.
Okay.
I mean,
I like it.
Everyone is focusing on themselves for sure. So
yeah,
I hope that everyone do good as long as I do better, but
for sure.
I mean, that's the mindset that every athlete is going to the games is thinking. That's what I think.
So what I wanted to say about Ricky, I really respect the guy, because we before the final went, he was 9 points behind me, and we sat next to each other, like we took Terragon or something, and we just talked to each other like for 20-30 minutes. And it was mostly like, my question was, what did you do for 4 years? And he said he did manual labor, like physical job, and he did it for 8 hours from 7 to 3, and then he went to training from 4 to 7, and then he went to sleep. And it was 4 years. And 6 months ago, his parents and his family said he should stop that, and they will support him. So he should get ready for the competitions, for the season. And that was really like, I imagine myself going through that, which is not very fun, you know, like you're waiting for something, but 4 years is a long period. It's almost as long as I'm training now. So I really respect him for being that patient.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
He's as I found him as a nice guy, and he can take a joke. He can joke with you. So Ricky is like, I see he will get a lot of media space in the future. So I think everybody will see that. So
I agree. I think there's something to be said about 4 years, like doing your time and coming back. Most people wouldn't come back. There's plenty of athletes that just don't do as well as they thought they would, and they don't come back, let alone, public humiliation and things like that. So I think it's a lot to be said about its determination and drive and character. And coming from, I'm someone who spent time in the system, and I had to do a comeback of sorts. And so it's not easy to come back. And so it is respectable, but just interested what it was like to see him compete, because you never really know until you see it live. Going back to you guys' childhood for a minute, did you guys ever fight each other? Did you ever get in fights?
That was the only thing that we did.
So, Luka, have you ever beat up Lazar? Did you ever win?
No, man. It wasn't even close.
But I made him strong.
Yeah. Maybe now it will be a different story, but we don't do that anymore.
When was the last time you guys got in a physical altercation? Do you remember?
It was a long time. Really long time ago. When we were kids.
Years, 15 years. Okay.
Then when we were kids. 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. Like, not even when I was 20, like maybe 16, 17 was last.
When I was 13 and he was 16, maybe that was the last time.
Got it. So he was hitting puberty and stuff. That's not even fair for you.
Yes, exactly. He was that.
Then I decided to stop.
Yeah. In those years, 3 years is a big difference, So I didn't have
fight over the most?
Much of a chance there.
Did you guys fight over video games? Did you fight over girls?
It was about everything,
Everything.
Like a really stupid stuff.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Luka, you don't want to beat up your older brother anyways. It's one of the most awkward things you can ever experience.
Yeah, probably.
You don't go back on that. So it's just, everything changes. You got to switch birth certificates and everything. So if you beat him up, you're the older brother now. That's pretty much how it works. What about school? Were you guys good kids? Were you troublemakers? What was school like?
We were different. I was a good kid and we were both good in school.
Yes.
We were doing good grades, but I was a good kid and Luka was a big troublemaker.
It's because you're beating him up all the time, man. He's got to take it out somewhere. What was the most trouble you ever got in, Luka? And what for?
I mean, it was like... No, it was like I always wanted to be like a leader or something. Like, let's say if we are playing sports for the school, I would always want to be a captain. I always wanted to be like the best scorer or something. I always felt like that it's mine to to showcase the school or something. So I would go in the trouble with the other schools or something like that. But yeah, it would be a long story to go over all of that, but it was stuff like that, I had good grades always. We both were like we had really good grades in school, but it was that like a childish stuff when I was in school. So like maybe like some like little fights in the school when you were a kid or something like that. Then your parents needs to go to the school and stuff like that. But it was those stuff, you know.
So no serious trouble, no trouble with the law or anything like that.
No, not like that, not like that.
What was your favorite subject in school, Luka?
Like sports.
What about you, Lazar? Was it sports as well, or was it?
No, for me it was
literature?
actually history.
Okay.
Yeah,
What part of
we had
history
really good. We had really good teacher, and she was actually doing the stories and not really lessons. So it was very nice to listen to it. And yeah, history and yeah, probably sports and yeah, nothing else.
Okay. Are you guys doing Wadapalooza?
No.
We both had the invite, and at first I accepted mine, and I was planning on doing it. But when I came back from Dubai, we sit down, like Drew and me, and we talked, and we realized that I did a lot of competitions in this off season. We both competed in a team together in Germany, Lazar and me.
All that.
Then he did Rogue Invitational, I did German Throwdown, and then I did Dubai. And I realized that I have all the information that I need for the next season. I see where and how I stack up against like the top guys and the games level athletes going into the next season. So I think that the Wadapalooza now will only take a full month basically from me, because it's a really long travel. You need to go to get ready for that heat again. Then coming back, it's really a long trip from here. So I really need some time just to focus on some of the weaknesses. So I decided I will skip it.
Smart. And Lazar, same thing for you. You just ready to start ramping up for the Open and game season?
Yeah, same story. We actually did the same number of competitions. Just I did Rogue and he did German Throwdown.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of competing this season. It was a good season, and now it's time to get ready for the next games. And I don't think I'll do anything else except the Open, quarterfinals, semifinals, and games. So yeah.
Yesterday I did a podcast and we talked about that, and I think that I said that I think that this part of the season is most important for the next season, because I think that athletes that use this part of the season smartest and in the best way are the athletes that are going to qualify for the games and then shine at the CrossFit Games, because there is now so much opportunities to compete and to go earn money and stuff like that. But sometimes you need to hit a break and to train, because there's a big difference in with training and training for a competition. Training for a competition, basically you are just like keeping your fitness level the same and ramping up volume and intensity. And when you train, you actually improve. So I think that there is now 6 months until the semifinals, and that's a big opportunity for the improvement.
Yeah, it's a good point. We, with the Zelos games, we plan on, and we haven't really announced this publicly, so this, I guess, might be our first time talking about it publicly, but we're planning on doing 3 competitions next year. And as you guys know, they're all online, so you don't have to travel. You do it from your home gym. And we're planning on doing one in between quarterfinals and semifinals, because there's about a 2-month period of time there, and then, or like 6 weeks. Then we plan on doing one right in between semis and the games, which is like a 2-month period, I think. And then one in the off season, late September, early October. We're planning on doing like 3 or 4 workouts, just like the last one, about 10 days long, 10 to 12 days long. And the intention is for, obviously, to create more earning potential for athletes and entertainment for fans, but a convenient opportunity where you don't have to travel, you don't have to do that stuff. And I anticipate, obviously, in between quarterfinals and semifinals, I anticipate a lot of the semifinal athletes to not do it. And then the same thing with the one in between semis and the games. What are you guys' thoughts on that timing? I guess since I've got you here, and you can give me your honest opinion. I don't care that it's live. You know what I mean?
I would say it's really good timing, because if you would do it between, like, there's only a week between Open and quarterfinals, like, it's not possible. And with 2 months period and 12 days, it's not really a big problem. You can continue your training. So I would say it's good time.
And also when it's, as you said, it's the online competition, so it's a big difference because you don't need to travel, you don't need to mess up your whole schedule of training. Basically, if you want to do an online competition, you can do your regular training day and then just switch a metcons. Like if you have like 10-minute AMRAP in your program, you can easily switch it and do the workout that you wanted to do for the online competition. And then you can, it is also a good timing, because if a lot of good athletes do it, you can see where do you stack up. Like you can see a little bit where you stack up leading up to the bigger competition. Like the
and there's a lot of money in the Zelos games, so
it's a good little prize package for sure. We want to make it well worth it. I'm going to use that clip of you guys just now, just endorsing it. I'm going to use that as an ad later on this year. I'm just kidding, maybe. But have you guys seen the 2000?
You can use it.
Good to know. I'll check that off. What's one thing that you'd like to see at next year's CrossFit Games? And I'll preface it with, like, I would love to see the battleground again. You know what I mean? The obstacle course. What would you guys like?
I would do really bad, but it's cool workout.
It's cool, right? It's like, what would you, you know, like Jason Kalipas talked about, like mixed martial arts, and Noah talked about like a pose off, you know, like some random stuff. What would you guys like to see?
I mean, I really like the game. I think that games this year were a little bit different than years before. That's how I saw it. I mean, programming wise, I just felt like there was a lot of barbell this year.
Like you don't want to see barbell.
Like I would like, for sure there's a need to see a heavy barbell, a max lift, and I know that people like to see it, but I just feel like that if there's too much barbell, then, for example, there was a clean ladders every year before, but you didn't have two clean ladders back to back, and that were separate scoring events. And I think that those two events made a huge difference on the leaderboard. And then we, again, on top of that, had a max event. Then on top of that, it was a lot of moving heavy barbells in the workouts. So comparing to like 2016 or 2017 or 18, I think it was, because those were the years that we can compare, because it was for the athletes in the field. 2019, it was national champions, and 2020 were only top 5 in the aromas. So I think that if we compare it to 2016, 2017, and 18, it was a big difference in programming, like strength-wise. It was, it was 3 or 4 events where it was just testing that one rep or who is the strongest athlete. And in 2016 and 17 and 18, there was not that much. There was more like conditioning and other stuff. So if you ask me, I would love to see more of that stuff back.
Okay.
Maybe they can split us in first, third, like odd numbers and even numbers, and we can play water polo game. Who scores most points gets 100.
Got it.
I'll be up for
Hopefully
that.
Castro watches this and maybe he'll get some inspiration. Did you guys watch cartoons as kids?
Yeah.
What was your favorite cartoon?
Like Bugs Bunny or Tom and Jerry. And Dragon Ball Z, definitely.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z for sure.
Yeah.
Same, Luka? Yeah. I've been basically asking that question on every
Dragon
show,
Ball Z.
waiting for somebody to say Dragon Ball Z. So thank you. I can just end the show now. No, do you guys read books? Do you like to read?
Yeah.
What do you like to read, Lazar?
like.
What's your favorite book?
I like, when I was starting with CrossFit, I was reading a lot of like motivational books, popular psychology, stuff like that. But now I'm too much into that stuff already, that now I need something to relax. So I'm mostly reading like something that will take my mind away from like disciplines, CrossFit motivation. So I'm like reading romance, like stories,
Okay.
like Game of Thrones, stuff like that. So
Okay.
Now I'm on the second book, and I really didn't have time in the past like a month or so to read it. So I'm like, I'm trying to finish it now, but
look at that.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
dude,
hope it's getting done soon.
reading some fiction can really be like, it's like you get to watch your own movie because you get to make stuff up in your head based on what the book says. So,
and it's good before sleeping. It makes you sleep better.
Yeah, you just shut down your brain for a minute. What about you, Luka? Do you like to read?
I'm like not a huge book reader, but I like to use it for the sleep. As Lazar said, that's what I was doing this past season. Basically, I would read only before the bed because that's the way it like to shut off to everything, like shut off the phone and everything, and just like zoom into the sleeping. But I really like I don't like fiction books and stuff like that. I would love to. I like to read like a documentary, like how you say when somebody is writing their own book,
biographies.
Biographies. I like to read like sports biographies from the athletes from the other sports and stuff like that. That's the thing that I'm like interested in. And usually if I watch something on TV, it's also something like that, like athletes from the other sports. I'm curious how they are handling everything. And now that I have, because my days were pretty hectic with the work and everything, so now that I have free time, I will have a little bit more time to dive into that.
He watched Last Dance like 10 times.
Yeah.
Got to. Who do you think is the greatest athlete to ever live, Luka? Any sport?
Oh, it's a really tough question. I don't know. I can't answer because sports are really, really different. And
give me three.
Like,
give me three athletes.
Sorry?
Give me three athletes. Who are your top three athletes?
Oh, man.
I'll do it.
I mean, for me, it's from three different sports. Let's say I will say Cristiano Ronaldo, Michael Jordan, and Novak Djokovic.
Okay. What about you, Lazar?
I would say Jordan, Maradona, and also you must say, because we are from Serbia, you must say Novak because he's bigger than sport in Serbia. So yeah.
Who is that? I don't know who that is. Who is that?
You don't know who Novak Djokovic is? Like the best tennis player in the world?
Yeah, now that you say it, like now to explain all of it, yeah, the name is familiar, but I don't follow tennis really. So, what do you guys think? Okay, so in CrossFit, who's your favorite athlete to ever compete in the sport? Do you guys have like a favorite, or do you idolize any particular athlete?
You have to say Rich Froning now, right?
you kind of do, but you don't have to. You know, he's never gonna watch this, so.
But for real, for me, it's really Rich because when I started, like I was watching every video that he had, like day in life of Rich Froning, snatching, and so I also tried this early arm bend from his snatch, but I really didn't do good with it, so I needed to switch that. So yeah, definitely for me, Rich, and at the girls like Tia, definitely. So
what about you, Luka?
The question was, who's my favorite athlete to do it, or
CrossFit?
Yeah. So I think that I have to say Matt Fraser, because when I started CrossFit, basically like the end of 2016, that's when he won his first games. And then everything that I was following till then was basically focused on him. And then I got to watch his videos and all that stuff. And he was like the main face of the sport at the moment. So I think that when Froning was number one and everything, I think that I still didn't do CrossFit, so I don't have I didn't do CrossFit, so I don't have like the picture of him doing CrossFit games and stuff like that. So when I got introduced in the sport, Fraser became number one. So for me, it was like he was
That
the
makes
one that I was following when I was going and
Getting into
doing
it. It's a
CrossFit.
tough choice. It's a tough choice.
Yeah, it's
It
a really
really
tough.
is.
But now that I know, like when Lazar was in Cookville and when he got to share some stories with me, it's a tough choice, because both of them were the best in their time, and it's tough to compare. So
Yeah.
I mean, definitely you have those two athletes in our sport that made a name and that got the sport bigger. So I think that everybody who started in that time, those are the answers for sure, Froning and Fraser.
If you guys weren't doing competitive CrossFit for a living, what would you be doing right now?
This
Really
quote,
tough questions.
This quote by Kanye West, like everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. Well, I guess we'll never know.
Okay, a non-answer is a good answer.
For me,
growing up, did you want to be a professional water polo player or soccer player?
For me, when I was like a little kid, I was like, I want to be the best soccer player in the world, and that was like my only goal when I was growing up was to be like a professional soccer player,
Yeah.
And I didn't have any, like I was going to the school just because I had to, and I needed to have a good grades, and I did that, but my goal was just focus on the sports all the time. So now that when I got introduced into the CrossFit, I was like, okay, this is my chance. So I'm really happy that I got a chance now to be a professional athlete. So
yeah.
I think that there is we still have a lot of time. We are one of the youngest in the sport, so we have even bigger opportunity to,
for sure,
to do to make a career out of this. But I also liked coaching, and I was doing that. So
okay. How much
for me when I was younger, I only wanted to have a lot of money, so I went to school for economics, and then I went for finance, banking, and insurance as a college. And I was watching a lot of Wolf of Wall Street, so probably I would be doing something as on the Wall Street, I hope. But yeah,
okay.
I'm really happy with where I am now, so I wouldn't change.
I could see you suit and tie, Lazar. I could see it.
Maybe one day.
Well, hopefully you're good with your money, because you kind of got to be in this sport.
Yeah.
How much of CrossFit, or how much of your success, or I guess success in general in CrossFit, how much of it do you think is attributed to hard work, and how much of it do you think is attributed to genetics and genetic ability?
I think it's a really you obviously have to have genetics. Yeah, there's a phrase that anyone can do it if you work hard enough, but I think that CrossFit is such a specific sport that if you don't have at least some genetics, because there's so much people now doing it. There's so much people now that are training full time. So I think that the genetics are one of the reasons for sure, but hard work is definitely the biggest factor.
Would you say 60-40, 70-30?
I would say 70-30. 70-30 in the 70% hard work and 30% genetics.
Okay. What about you, Lazar? Do you agree?
I agree, but I got familiar with politics in sports in water polo, and I really didn't like that in team sports, because if your parents had more money, your kid would play in water polo, and it wasn't who's more talented, it's who has more money, who
right.
can go with coach to the coffee, who can buy something nice for the coach and stuff. And here there's nothing like that, and it's all your hard work. And especially two guys from small town in Serbia, how big are the chances if we didn't work hard? It's there's almost no chance of us succeeding, because when I started, I can name 10 guys that told me, you think you're going to live off CrossFit? Come on, you're gonna get injured in the next 3 months, you're gonna finish with it. Just be smart, go to school and stuff like that. And
or like, why are you doing that? Like you will someday go to the CrossFit Games.
like you're going to go, you know?
Yeah, like that's I can name 20 guys that said that. Not 10, like 20 guys that said like why are you training 3 times a day? Like you will go to the CrossFit Games someday.
And it's so in CrossFit, I like the most that it's only dependent on you. And if you want it bad enough, you can like fool your genetics and like just like be good at it. And so you need to have bare minimum. Like,
I meant genetics. Like you will not see a guy that is 2 meter tall that can do CrossFit. Like he will have a hard time for sure. You know, that's what I meant. But
some people
else
are more,
is up to you, I think.
Some people are predisposed to injury, and some people, some bodies are just developed to be more resilient. If you look at people across time, like Rich has been training for like 6 to 8 hours a day for like 10 years now.
He doesn't even warm up properly.
Nuts, right? Like I have to warm up.
Did you see him warm up? Like I always tell the story. We were doing the snatch, and he just do one barbell snatch, full snatch, and he said, he says, I'm done. Let's go.
Yeah, no, man. I need to warm up for an hour. Like I have a full bag of bands that I use. It's got to be the right temperature outside. I'm old and broken, but a couple rapid fire questions before we finish up, man. If you guys could put anything, and either one of you can answer first. If you could put anything on a big blank billboard over the busiest intersection that you know, what would the billboard say on it?
I have some a board today with some quotes that I'm using for myself, like to get myself inspired. And there's one: how you do anything is how you do everything. Then today I will do what others want, so I can do tomorrow what others can't. And yes, probably the second one.
Okay. What about you, Luka?
I think that I will. Nothing beats hard work.
Nothing beats hard work. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want people to say about you when you're long gone?
Oh man, it's not really a rapid question. It's like, well, I need to think about it. We don't have time for this.
I'll make the next one.
I mean, maybe we will have a little bit like better answer if we were like closer to the end of our careers. I think that we both are like just not starting, but we are like just started like that, the biggest of the biggest levels. So I think maybe it's not
for like I said I talked about Rich like a lot of times in this podcast, and like he's the good example for me. He took something from CrossFit. He made a name from himself. He made money from sponsorship, from earning, like from prizes and stuff. But then he gave something back, like to the community, to the he has a charity, and so he's a good example. Like I want to maybe be remembered like a guy who gave something back. Like so we'll see what I will give back, but I would like to be a guy who didn't just took.
Yeah.
Instead, he gave something in return. So we'll see what that will be. But yes, something like this. It's a really tough question.
Yeah.
Ask me again in 5 years.
Yes, exactly.
You got it. We'll bring you back on in a couple of years and we'll ask again. Do you guys think you'd ever do teams?
Teams?
Yeah.
Games teams?
Yeah.
For me, I always said that anyone that I can be in a team in is Lazar, because I'm like the only guy that I know that is working as hard as I am is him, and I don't see myself, not that I'm like putting down anyone else or something like that. That's how I feel, and I know that I won't see I can't do with anyone else like something more. I can do for sure like team workouts in the gym and stuff like that, but competitive CrossFit,
only 2 males.
Yeah, we did some team competitions before in a team, but
We have 100% streak.
I don't see myself doing a team at the CrossFit Games.
Got it. What okay, couple more. Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
My guys. And what was the last one? Who would be the team captain if you were on a team?
We did 2 competitions, and he was a captain. No, I was captain at one, and he was captain at one.
The second one that I gave him the captainship was just because I was too bored to talk to judges after.
Do you guys see yourself ever moving to the United States?
Still no.
I could see myself living in United States, but at the moment, no.
Like our life is pretty figured out here, so.
You guys live together?
No.
Okay.
He's living with his girlfriend, and I'm waiting for my girlfriend to finish school, so I'll move in with her. So.
Got it. All right. Cool. Well, guys, thanks for jumping on the show, man. I've learned a ton about you. I'm glad we got to bring both of you on and just kind of enjoy the camaraderie and everything else. Yeah. Before we close it out and call it a day, is there anything you want to tell the audience? Any last words?
Watch out for us in 2022.
Hey, I love it, man. Well, hey, thanks for being on, and I can't wait to see you guys. What's that?
Thanks for inviting us.
Dude, 100%. Love it, man. And you guys know that you'll hear from me as more information around the Zelos games comes out and things like that. So I'll be talking to you over the next couple months. Hopefully I'll get to see you maybe in Cookeville again soon.
Maybe.
See you guys. See you, Luka. Bye, Lazar.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.